What's up everyone, Rossi here, and I wanted to just talk about an experiment I did, or just something I wanted to try myself. I spent about half of 2017 using prime lenses. Why is that a big deal? Well, I mean, none of this is really a big deal, but I've been primarily, especially on a lot of the work that I do for weddings and events, a zoom shooter. 16 to 35, the 12 to 24s, 24 to 70, 70 to 200. And I've been doing that for years. I mean, I've been shooting now since essentially 2011, so I've primarily used those. Now, I've used a lot of prime lenses as well. I know the perks of them. I know exactly why they're popular, but the versatility of a zoom lens is what always has intrigued me. So I wanted to challenge myself for 6 months to see what I could do with prime lenses, and could I adopt those more because of the quality and everything that they provide. This isn't a review of anything. This is just a discussion point, and I want to hear your guys and girls' thoughts on this stuff as well, because I know people are very, very opinionated on being just a zoom shooter, being just a prime shooter, and no really good mix in between. Now, like I said, usually since I've changed a lot of the gear that I came up, I've got a 16 to 35, the 24 to 70 2.8, and then I actually use a 100mm macro. And I've always had a dedicated prime macro lens for jewelry work, detail shots for wedding, engagement, and all that kind of stuff. So that being said, I wanted to only use primes, and one of the big things that you do notice is definitely a little bit of an image quality upgrade. Now, once again, this comes down to camera, lens being used, and whatever combination that you're doing. But you do get something very, very sharp most of the time. I mean, they're also very fast lenses. You can use them in lower lighting to get better bokeh, get a good effect going, which you can't normally do when you stop at a 2.8 or an f4. So now you get down to that f2, f1.4, even f1.2, you're getting very interesting stuff, and stuff that looks very unique. And I mainly enjoy just throwing a lens on the camera and just kind of walking into the frame what I want and everything like that. And once again, that is very different, because a 24 to 70 is a essential piece of gear for someone doing event and wedding work, because that primarily is what lives on your body. Now, what I used was a 24mm, a 50mm, and then the 100mm, and then I even rented out the 135 f2 from Canon to really work with that and see what I could do. And once again, it just gets interesting, and this is why I really like zooms, is because of all the lens changing that you need. Now, I do use multiple bodies and cameras when I do these shoots, because you need a backup. That way you don't have to change gear. Usually I will have a 24 to 70 on one lens, and then a 70 to 200 on another camera, not a lens. And that way I'm covered. I have everything on my sides. I can pull them up using my dual straps, and then I could go from there. But once again, it is kind of refreshing knowing that you're getting a little bit more when you're using these prime lenses. You could kind of just leave it on there. You're not worrying about messing around, and you could go and just kind of shoot wherever you want. And the size is definitely a huge factor. A 70 to 200 is a very, very large lens compared to a Canon 100mm, 135mm, you know, a Nikon, whatever. There is a size difference, and that's why I know a lot of people like to go that route, because it is definitely lightweight, and that is definitely another huge perk. A lot of this stuff, these prime lenses do, even though you'll have more to cover what you need, they are lighter for the most part. You know, there are some that are really large, even the 1.2s get a little heavy, but they are a very light, portable setup that, you know, can easily just fit into a bag. So for 6 months, it really was a challenge getting used to not being able to zoom with your lens, to really just using your feet to zoom to go in and out. But the compression looks really nice. The image quality looks great. But this is why I will never be fully a dedicated prime shooter, because of the versatility that I want and need. I made a video where I talked about why I really like f4 lenses. I'll link that down below. That video is a little controversial to people for some reason who really didn't watch it. But 2.8s, f4s are really perfect for what I do. But I do like a look of a 51.4 or 1.2. You know, with the wedding couple, you can really blow out the background, get some awesome like bokeh balls and everything, to really capture some light that way. So that being said, I'm not necessarily gonna trade everything in. I own the 100mm for a reason. It's one of Canon's best lenses, and it's one of my favorite macro lenses out there. Alongside, Nikon's got some great stuff, and Nikon has a ton of macro lenses that are very, you know, affordable. The 40mm, 60mm, and you can go up to even the 105 VR, which is another sharp lens from them. I do understand why people love prime lenses primarily, and I didn't have a bad time with them. I mean, you could give me any piece of gear, I could shoot with it. I really don't care. But for me, I love a mix of having mainly zoom lenses that I could use, the 16 to 35, the 24 to 70, and then a nice prime lens like a 100 millimeter, and then maybe even getting another prime lens so that way you can get the 50 1.2 or something, the 85 1.2, 1.4, and that way you can get something special as well. But I want to know your thoughts. Are you mainly zoom shooters, prime shooters, or do you have a good mix of something that really hits exactly what you need? Let me know down in the comments below. But I tried it for half a year just using prime lenses. I had a great experience, but all in all, I can't dedicate myself fully to just prime lenses. I know it's a perk if you want to do video. I 100% see that. You shouldn't be zooming and all that stuff during video. Vlogging, it's okay with, but a lot of people like having versatility, like quick zoom into something and everything. But overall, if you're doing video, prime work is a very, very solid play, and I play with it on this channel. I absolutely enjoyed that. But if you're doing a mix of photo and video, it can be a little difficult. But I really want to know what you guys have to think. Let me know down below. Prime lenses are amazing for a reason. They're worth the cost. They're worth the investment because of the weight and everything that you get from it. But for me, I can't solely do that because I do a lot more photo work than I do video work, not including YouTube stuff. But go from there. Let me know your thoughts down below.